Yeah, hi everyone. We are going further in algebra and we are considering algebra process 1. Algebra processes 1. Now let's move on. Now we are going to consider simple equations under this. What are the content? The content number 1 is change of subject of formula, and then number 2 is change of subject of formula and substitution. Are you getting now? The first one is change of subject of formula, then the second one is subject of formula and substitution. Now simple equation, we are considering simple equation which you need to know the definition. Simple equation is an algebra equation that involves one variable and the power or index of variable is 1, meaning that if the variable doesn't have any raised to power, whether raised to power 3, 2 or 4, if it's just simple, it's called simple equation. There is no index greater than 1. Are you seeing it now? That is what they are talking about. Is this any equation that doesn't have raised to power more than 1? Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it now? If it is 2 now, we are talking about quadratic. Are you following? So but if it is 1, so any equation that is at least a raised to power is a. So or b, you say a plus b is a simple equation. But if you say a square plus b, this is a quadratic equation. The reason is that one of the letters is raised to power 2. Are you following? So that's what they are talking about. So simple equation is an algebra equation involving one variable and the power or index of variable is just 1. So let's move on. Now change of subject of formulae. Now a linear equation is a simple equation that involves more than one variable, that is more than one unknown, and the procedure of solving such an equation is usually to find one of the variables in terms of the others. Are you following now? Let's go. Now, example number 1. Given capital A equals to 1 over 2h open bracket a small a plus b close the bracket. Make small a the subject of formula here. Now solution. Now when you have this equation, you know capital A is different from small a, so you are to find a as the subject of formula. You are getting it now. This is a change of subject of formulae. Are you following? So let's press further. Now what are you going to do now? You have to cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you are going to get this. But before then, let me try and go back so that you get this. Now this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. That means this one is the same thing as a equals to h into a plus b, close the bracket. This is h for clarity, all divided by 2, because that is the same thing as this. Are you following now? So now what do you want to do? You are going to cross multiply because this one is in fraction and then this one is the same thing as a divided by m. So you cross multiply, you multiply this one by this one. That is a times 2, which is a capital A times 2, which is 2 capital A, and then 1 times this. Are you following? So that is what we are talking about. So let's move on. Now when you cross multiply, you are going to get 2a equals to h open bracket a plus b close bracket. That is what we are going to get. And then when you expand this one, you are going to get h times a, which is ah, and then h times b, which is bh. That is why you get 2a equals to ah plus bh. Now, but what you are considering is that you want to make a small a subject of formula. That means you are going to carry this BH to 2A, and when you carry it, it's going to turn to minus BH, which is now going to be AH. Are you following now? When you get something like this, you are now going to make it the subject of formula. That is, divide both sides by H, which is now going to be, you just rearrange. AH is the same thing as AH equals to 2A minus BH. So which is now going to be divide both sides by H, which is now going to be this. This is the final answer. Are you seeing now? That you have made A the subject of formula. So that is it. Now you can separate it like this. That is 2A divided by H and minus BH divided by H, which is this. So H can cancel H here, which is now going to remain minus B in this side, which is now going to be A equals to 2A divided by H minus B. So if you leave it this way, you are going to get your answer. Now let's go to number 2. Make V the subject of formula in this equation. So this V is what you want to make the subject of formula. Now solution. Now this is it. You can cross multiply because this is the same thing as divided by 1 as usual, which is now going to be this one times this one. Are you seeing it now? So H times this one. So that is what we are talking about, which is now be by cross multiplying. You are going to get H times 2ds, which is now going to be 2ds H, and then equals to M open bracket V squared minus 2 minus U squared close the bracket times 1, which is now going to be the same like this. I haven't done that. You know, you are going to U squared, V squared as the one that you want to make subject of formula. You are now going to multiply M by all that you have here. That's one step, but rather you can divide both sides by M so that M will be here already. And once you are through, are you getting my point? But I haven't done that. Just expand this one. Are you following? Expand this one. You are going to get MV squared minus MU squared. Now I haven't done that. You make this MV squared the subject of formula by carrying MU squared back to this place, which is going to turn to plus because it's minus before, which is now going to be 2gs H plus MU squared equals to MV squared. Well, having done that, you are now going to have it this way because you divide both sides by M to get your V that you want to make the subject of formula, which is like this. Are you following? Now, to square the root of both sides for you to remove square from V, and then you will get the root 2GSH plus MU squared divided by M. Are you following now? You can get this one or you get it this way. Either of the two, you get correct answer. That is what you get from here. Now let's go to number 3. The period of a compound pendulum is given by T, capital T, equals to 2 theta 2 pi square root open bracket h squared plus k squared divided by gh close bracket. Express k in terms of t, h and g, that is, you have to make k the subject of formula, and then taking t squared pi squared to be 10. So let's move on. Solution. Now, I've given you this one. Are you getting it? You must first remove the square root. That is, you square all the equations, which is now going to be t squared 2 theta squared, and then the square will cancel this root. It will remain what is inside. It's now going to be taking the square of both sides, and I'm going to have 2 t squared equals to open bracket 2 pi close bracket square, and then the square that's supposed to be all through here is being cancelled with square root. Are you following? That is how to remove square root. So now, having done that, you can cross multiply. You know, gh is all in this denominator. You now say t squared times gh, which is now going to be, they just we just expand this one, which is 4 square, 4 and pi square. Are you seeing it now? Which is like this. So you can cross multiply, as I said, which is now going to be t squared times gh, which is t squared gh equals to 4 pi square open bracket h square plus k. You can divide, it's k that we want to make solid the formula. You can divide through by 4 pi square, which is going to be t square gh divided by 4 pi square, which is now going to be divide both side by 4 pi square, which is now going to be like this. This is what you are going to get, and then you are going to get h square plus k square. Now make k the subject of formula. In other words, with k square equals to tgh divided by 4 pi square minus, this h come to make this place, to make this one. That's why it's minus h square, which is what you get here. Then, having done that, you can root this one to square this one. So if you want to remove square from here, you will turn it to root on the other side, which is now going to be, to take the square root of both sides, you are going to get this, because the square will turn to square root here. So using the value of 10 for pi, so wherever you see pi square, you put 10, which is 4 times 10 here, which is 40. That's why you get something like this. And I believe it's very simple. Let's go to subject of formula and substitution. A formula is an equation in which letters represent quantities. The value of one variable in a formula or algebraic equation may be found by substituting, that is, replacing the known values in the same formula. You are going to get it now. Example 1. Now, the sum of squares of the first n integers is given by this equation. S subscript n equals to n open bracket n plus 1 close the bracket open bracket 2n plus 1 close the bracket, all divided by 6. Then calculate x subscript 20, and then calculate the sum of the squares from 21 to 40 inclusive. Let's go. Now solution. Let's do number A, which is s subscript n. It means that n is equals to 20, and wherever you see n in that equation, you put 20 there. When n is 20, that's the meaning. Now that means you are going to say s20 will be equals to n here will now be 20, n here will now be 20 plus 1, and then 2n here will be 2 times 20 plus 1 close the bracket, all through divided by 6. And then when you add this one, 21, 40 plus 1, 41, 21, 41, 20, 21, 41, which is now going to be like this. I say now 20 times 21 times 41 divided by 6. Your answer is going to be 2870. That is S20. That is the answer for A. Now let's go to B. They are saying that you want to get the answer starting from n equals to 21 to n equals to 40. Are you getting it? And meanwhile, n equals to 20 is here already. That means you can just do n equals to 40 and remove n equals to 20, and you get the range from 21 to 40. Very simple. Now the sum of squares from 21 to 40 means S40 minus S20. We have done S20 already, but S20 is already done, and we know it to be 2870. And then S40 will now be substituting where you see n to be 40, 40, 40, 2 times 40, close the bracket, divided by 6. It is now going to be 40, 41, 81, which is now going to be divided by 6. Then multiplying them together, you are going to get 22,140. Now S ranging from 21, the sum of the squares ranging from 21 to 40 will now be S40 minus S20, which is now going to be 22,140 minus 2,870, which is now going to be 19,270, which is the answer, which is the sum of the square from 21 to 40. Now let's go to another example. Example 2. Find the value of 2 pi root L divided by G when when pi is equals to 22/7, that is real number 1/7, L equals to 98, and G equals to 30. Let's move on. Now solution. Now substitute whatever these alphabets are in this place. What is pi is 22/70. What is L is 98, which is 98 here, and what is G is 32. Now you can do your simplification. Now 2 times 22 is 44 divided by 7, and then 98 in 98, 2 goes in 98, 2 goes in 98, 49, 2 goes in 32, 16. That's why 49 divided by 16, and the square root of 49 is what? Is 7, and the square root of 16 is 4. It's now going to be 44 divided by 7 times 7 divided by 4, and then 7 cancels 7 here, and then 4 in 44 is 11, 4 in 4 is 1. The answer is 11. That is the final answer, and this brings us to the end of this algebra process 1. So we are going to see in algebra process 2. I believe you understand this one. We'll see you in the next class. Thank you.